Scandal Squad, welcome back to the channel, Celebrity Scandalous. So I'm back with another quick video. So earlier today, I was trying to find the press conference for Alex Spiro, which is Jay-Z's attorney. He was doing a press conference to talk about why this case should be dismissed and to address the inconsistencies. So this is just a quick video to go through the press conference in case you missed it earlier. I know I did. I've seen him do various interviews today, but we're going to actually go back and look at the video, the press conference that he did. So let me play that. We'll jump right into it. It's going to be a
when you're trying to evaluate whether something occurred, you have to look at different pieces of the narrative: the location where it happened, the witnesses, who were they, what did they say, the details. Details are very important in time. So we start off with the location, and according to their complaint, after approximately 20 minutes, she arrived at a White House with a U-shaped driveway and a gate. There is no such location in New York, 20 minutes from Radio City. It does not exist. There is no such location. We don't know whether they created a location in order to try to get jurisdiction in New York so they could bring this case in New York, or whether they just didn't do their homework. But any New Yorker knows there is no such location. Beyond that, this was supposed to have taken place at Mr. Combs' after party, according to them. When you look at the homes associated with Mr. Combs during that period of time, and even not during that period of time, none of them matches. He had a townhouse, he had a house in the Hamptons hours away, and he had homes in New Jersey, but not at that time. None of the homes work, the location doesn't work, because this never happened. And again, when you really bear down on the location and his whereabouts, you quickly realize, because of there's photographic evidence and witnesses are coming forward, that Mr. Carter was at a commercial establishment after the VMAs. He wasn't at a house. Unfortunately for them, they needed to create this house in order to create the narrative. But he wasn't at a White House that did not exist. And this is a photograph of him at a location after the VMAs. So as we can continue through this, Jane Doe does not say that the assault happened at a commercial establishment. She can't. That wouldn't make any sense. Yet they stand by it. They double down. They triple down. White House, White House. The White House doesn't exist. And then we get to the witnesses. And I think at the outset, everybody has to remember that in 24 years, not a single witness has ever come forward saying this happened. Quarter of a century. Think about that. She says she's at the party alone, this 13-year-old girl, and she finds herself in the room with the three most famous people at the party. Just think about how unnatural, how little common sense that makes. And according to her, one of the witnesses is a female celebrity who's just standing there watching the repetitive rape of a child. That celebrity does nothing, says nothing, reports nothing. And in fact, they won't even identify her. According to them, there's an adult female in the room watching the rape of a child. They refuse to identify her. So then we continue, and you look and there's celebrities that she says she's mingling with before. Afterwards, she says she runs out of the house naked. None of them notice that. None of them pay any notice. For 24 years, none of them has said anything. And so she's just asked in this interview, she's asked, well, I mean, celebrities are recognizable people. Surely you can tell us one celebrity that was there. Just give us one name so that we know this happened. And she says, okay, Benji Madden was there. And she wants to conjure up religion and say, I'm religious. I remember his tattoo. She looks and remembers so vividly the tattoo and the conversation with Mr. Madden.
So, of course, you know, because of YouTube policies, I have to stop and pause and make comments on the actual video. So this is interesting. I've heard this story multiple times, but every time I hear it, I hear something new. And I don't recall hearing that she ran out in the crowd like a party, totally nude. That to me is odd, that even if there were celebrities there engaging in whatever, for nobody to look at a third, like you just got 100+ people that are so depraved that they would see a 13-year-old run out in that state and nobody do anything. I find that hard to believe as well. Again, not that it can't happen, but finding it hard to believe. And probably jurors aren't going to believe it either. I'm just saying.
Well, Mr. Madden wasn't there. He already said he wasn't there. His tour schedule says he wasn't there. And he wasn't there because this never happened. None of this ever happened. And you keep going and you ask yourself, well, who is this complaining witness? She does not come forward with her real name. She proceeds under Jane Doe. There's no report to the police. According to her, she never tells anybody for 24 years. Not one person, not alone in the car for 5 hours at home, on her way home. Not one person, not a diary, not a family member, not a friend. Most people, when this happens, there's a need to tell somebody. We call these prompt outcry witnesses. In most complaints like this, people tell somebody. She says nobody for 24, 25 years. And then we get to the details. And I want to make sure this is clear. When people make up an account, whether intentionally or their mind is playing tricks on them, they can always get that core part of the story right. They can just keep repeating it over and over and over again. This is what happened, that core part. But they're always going to mess up the details. When something isn't real, when something doesn't happen, you're going to get the details wrong because you weren't really there. And so she starts with her story about her friend that dropped her off. Okay? This drive of over 5 hours, the friend would have had to have gone 10 plus hours to drop her off because she's got to get there. If this is real, she's got to get there. But guess what? This friend of hers, she doesn't get out of the car, right? Think about that. She's just leaving a 13-year-old girl alone in Midtown. She doesn't even want to get out of the car. She came all that way. There can't be a witness there. She can't have a witness there because this never happened. So as you keep going, you ask yourself, but how did she end up in the car in the first place?
And that is a key point. I mean, again, as a 13-year-old, things can happen. Of course, we've all been teenagers before. Kids do things, but to think, like, what kind of a friend who's of driving age would drive a child that far from home and just let them go and leave them? That even sounds odd. I mean, again, it could happen, but it doesn't sound plausible.
So she creates this story. She says, I snuck out the window, right? But now we know she came from Rochester. So she would have been sneaking out of the window at 3 p.m. in the middle of broad daylight. Never heard of such a thing, defies common sense, doesn't make any sense because this never happened. And so she tells this story because she's got to create a way that she gets out of the house and ends up in New York City. And as we keep going here, the friend that implausibly leaves her there, there's then some pressure on that part of the story because it doesn't make any sense. And so the lawyer is asked, well, just produce the friend. And so he has to find somebody that can make this work. And of course, as soon as he's pressed, they find somebody who they say is no longer alive. They can't corroborate it, and there's nobody to talk to. Okay, and if we could keep going. Next slide. So she then gets there, right? And she has this vivid tale of watching it on a Jumbotron. It's in her complaint. Clear as day. There was no Jumbotron that year. Okay? I don't know whether they were Googling images and found the wrong year. I don't know whether she's just making it up out of whole cloth. There is no Jumbotron. In fact, they didn't even get a permit, according to the police and the city, for the Jumbotron that year. So that didn't happen. None of the details are right because this never happened. If we can keep going. And then she says, I'm knocking on the doors and the windows of limousines and VIPs. Of course, that doesn't work either. If you look at the video, photographs, that whole area was blocked off. We've spoken to numerous people there that were in security. No one could have gotten anywhere near those cars because this never happened. She gets that fact wrong. And you know, the whole story about, of all people, she knocks on Puff's window. 13-year-old girl in Midtown by herself. Just think about that. Think about how illogical that is. Keep going. Again, this is Eminem performing in the streets. No Jumbotron. All the cars barricaded. Her facts don't check out because this never happened. We keep going. So what ends up happening then, and this is important, is her original account in the original complaint says that at 9:30 or 10, she's told to wait there to get a ride to the after party. Okay? That also doesn't work because there's photographs now of Mr. Combs and Mr. Carter at commercial establishments in New York after the VMAs. So this narrative of at 10 o'clock she ends up at this party can't work. They got caught. So they change it in the amended complaint that there's this multiple drop off and pickup that lands them at this White House that doesn't exist. So as we continue,
Jay-Z's attorney, Alex Spiro, is being very finite, very detailed, and we haven't seen Buzbee have a response to this. And everything that he's putting forth here sounds like there are no facts or there's no evidence to support her claims. It is not looking good.
This is, again, her account of trying to change the story into this multiple drop-off period to get them at the house to deal with the fact that there's photographic evidence that that's not where the after party was in the first place. And so as this account continues, you have to look at the timeline. You have to look at the timeline. So there's an old expression that time doesn't lie. Everything else that I'm talking about, these glaring inconsistencies, these are not minor inconsistencies. These are not minor problems with this story. This is utter falsehoods. Time never lies. And so if you look at the time, no matter what, this couldn't have happened. It's not even possible that this happened. And this is so important. So again, now that we know that it's a 5-hour drive in each direction, how she gets to the VMAs, okay, we're going to talk in some detail about this White House and whether or not they could have gotten there. And then again, Doe returns home to Rochester, okay? And this is very important. Because she returns home, she has to leave the New York area by 1:30 in the morning at the latest, okay? If you look at any of these White Houses and you look at the closest gas stations that could be to any of these White Houses, you have to leave this White House party by 12:45 in order to get to the gas station at 1:30 to call your father to pick you up to get home to Rochester at 6:30. So remember, she only has till 12:45 for everything that she says to have happened. The VMAs end at after 11. So you're talking about a window of a little more than an hour.
This is interesting. I mean, I'm not trying to be funny, but it's kind of sounding like Cinderella. Ooh, shoot. It sounded like somebody shooting outside. But anyway, it's like, this is sounding crazy. And if she's leaving the party after all of this stuff happened, like, how far is the gas station? Would she even know that there's a gas station? Does she just bolt out of there running? Like, I really want more details of how she got from point house and all of the things that occurred to the gas station, and what kind of a state was she in?
That this could possibly have happened even by their own account. And she says during that little bit more than an hour, not only does she get to the house, not only is she inside mingling with celebrities, she has a drink. She's then sexually assaulted in front of an adult female multiple times. She gets out of that. She fights through it. She leaves the house naked. She gets all the way to the gas station. She had 37 minutes to possibly do this. Okay, even under their account. Okay, and of course, the biggest problem, perhaps of all, is there's photographs putting Mr. Combs and Mr. Carter at different places, not in a White House during that 37 minutes. So when I tell you that it's not just that this story is a lie and that it's not true, it's provably, demonstrably false. This never happened. So we talked about this 37 minutes. The earliest, even if we didn't have that establishments. Remember, this is innocence on top of innocence. Even if we didn't have that, according to her, the earliest they could have gotten to the house is 12:11. And the reason for that is if the VMAs end and the drive is 20 minutes, the driver has to go there, drop them off, come back, pick her up, bring her back. She can't get there. And again, this is lickety split. This is as fast as is possible, okay? This is no traffic leaving Radio City in Midtown during an award ceremony. 12:11. She has to leave that white residence by 12:48 in order for her father to pick her up at the gas station. 37 minutes. That's the entire window of opportunity here. So here again is the timeline. Shows the 11:11 VMAs end, the drop off, the pickup, and the drop off. Next slide. And again, here we are. You see the 37 minutes This is the 42 minutes it takes to walk. This is the closest gas station. And this is, remember this is a 13-year-old girl walking who has issues, who is maybe drugged according to her, who's just been viciously raped multiple times, who was holding her own clothing trying to get to a gas station that she had never been before. Okay? No map, no cell phone, no nothing. Straight line, it's 42 minutes. Okay? The story doesn't work, it doesn't check out. Okay? This never happened. Next slide. These are all the things that they claim happened in that 37 minutes. Okay? And again, 37 is giving them every benefit of the doubt as how long this window could be. Every benefit of the doubt. But here's an even bigger problem. There are photographs of Mr. Carter and Mr. Combs at commercial establishments during the 37 minutes. They're not there. Even if you try to come up with the fastest possible timeline, I'm talking about no traffic, nobody getting in your way at the door, right to the bar kind of timeline, it still doesn't work because they had to leave Radio City. They had to go to the commercial establishments. Mr. Combs is photographed at 2 different commercial establishments with Jennifer Lopez, 2 establishments. They had to go to both of those establishments and get back to the White House. Get back to the White House before she has to leave at 12:30. None of this can work. And in fact, and I think this is very important, you will notice in the photographs that Ms. Lopez changes clothing between the 2 events that they go to in New York City. You can see in one photograph, she's wearing one outfit and another. So she had to be able to, in this 40-minute window, get to multiple events. They're seen drinking, socializing. She has to change outfits, change her hair, all within 40 minutes to get to that White House in time. And you're saying to yourself, so that's not possible. You're right, it's not possible. It's because this never happened. And then we get to the end.
It is kind of odd too. Again, I'm not really clear as to whether or not she was able to put her clothes on. So I'm assuming that she did put her clothes on because it sounds like she left the house with her clothes, but she left nude. But also just, I don't know, like what kind of an area, suburban area or suburbs or whatever. But it's just seems like a young girl that's probably panicked or in disarray, kind of wandering around at night on a road or something, like people would notice or even stop to help. It just, given whatever distress she was in after that situation, it would seem like somebody would have been like, hey, still just a little odd.
She kept running until she reached a gas station. A female clerk noticed her, allowed her to use the phone. Plaintiff called her father, admitted that she had lied about her whereabouts. And this is
okay, so that's interesting too. So she says that, well, you know what? Actually, I have to strike that because there was a video that they showed and they said they showed her. They didn't say that she did, but it looked like she was using a payphone. So if you went to the gas station back in the day, you would not need the gas station attendant to allow you to use a payphone. You would either have money, unless she asked the attendant for money to use the payphone, but they showed a payphone. So I assume that she used a payphone. But then the second point is that if there was a gas station attendant, then that would be a witness. And all they need to do is go back to employee records and try to pin it down to see who would have been working that night. I mean, that's traceable. I don't think that should be too hard to do. Most companies, especially back then, 2000, they would have records of employees. So they should be able to go back and find that.
It's a very small thing, very small. But remember, when you leave house and you're 13, you have to have a story. You either have to sneak out and not have a lie, or you tell your parents a lie. Sort of 2 options, right? Earlier, she says, well, I didn't tell my parents a lie. I just snuck out the window, right? Here, she says, well, I lied. See, do you know what that means? That means she's lying within her own story. They can't both be true. And I said earlier that no witnesses have come forward in basically a quarter of a century, except for one. Now there's one, her own father, the person who knows her best. And he came forward too. And he said, you know what? This never happened. This never happened. And his attention was drawn to it. You know, I feel like I would remember that. You know, and they said, but you've got a lot going on. Maybe you forgot this. You've got a lot going on. They told him, listen, you've got a lot going on. Try to see if they pressed him, if he stuck to his story. He said, yeah, I have a lot going on, but that's something that would definitely stick in my mind. Of course it would stick in your mind. You drove 10 hours to pick up your 13-year-old daughter in New York City. It's not something you would forget. It's not something that he did forget because this never happened. And of course, just like the friend that couldn't be there at the beginning, you can't have a witness to something that never happened. When asked, well, what did you say to your father in the car? What did you talk about? Nothing. She says, not a word was spoken. There can't be a conversation because this never happened. And so you got to ask yourself what's going on here, right? And you all saw that videotape of her being interviewed in the shadowy room. She's holding a teddy bear. She's talking about her issues, her head trauma. She's been through a lot in her life, you can tell. And so who took advantage of this? Why are we here? Why is this story getting created? And I'll tell you who took advantage of this. This lawyer took advantage of this. That's what's going on here. And you can see here, now that this is starting to unravel and the truth is coming out, he's starting to walk away from it. He's saying, oh, sorry, this case was referred to our firm by another firm, so I didn't really check it out, is basically what he's saying, right? He brings an accusation like this, attacks a man with the integrity of Mr. Carter, and all he has to say for himself now is, well, I didn't really check on this. I got a referral, trying to make a little bit of money, so we just went live with it.
Yeah, that's really bad because when you get new clients for cases, even if it's a referral from another law firm. So the other thing is that why would the other law firm, or if it was from another firm, do the referral? Why wouldn't they represent her themselves? But also there's an intake form that you use when you're, about to represent somebody, and it's pretty lengthy. And for something like this, even though it's not a criminal case, it's a civil case, but for something of this nature, I don't understand why actually before they would even come public, I'm not necessarily saying for the mediation or anything, but before they would even be this public with it, they would want to vet and have witnesses. I mean, that's kind of law 101. You don't even have to be an attorney to know that. Legal assistance, we all know that they're just some fundamental things that you would do. And just, I mean, this case is just falling apart at the seams.
Next. Here is again the timeline that he went live with. In the face of this irrefutable, time doesn't lie evidence, he went live with it. And again, it doesn't work. This 37 minutes, it does not work. It does not work because there's photographs. There's photographs. You can find them on the internet of them. They're changing clothes. She's changed clothes. Do you know how long that takes for her to go to 2 events, change clothes, get inside, have drinks? They're socializing. They're not popping into these events. To then get back out into the suburbs somewhere at a house that doesn't exist? It's not possible. Actually not possible. He is for sure innocent of this accusation. Next slide. But this lawyer, he doesn't care about things like this. The only other person he's brought a complaint against for just mere association, merely being at a Sean Combs party, he's already been wrong about that one too. He had to change that one. If you look at the next slide, he got the year wrong. He said there was a party in the Hamptons. Mr. Combs was in Saint-Tropez at the time. Didn't check out. 2 claims, neither are checking out. We could keep going. And we have this, individuals calling my office, telling me story after story. And, I'm not going to get sidetracked. People think I'm going to start saying, explaining he's a grifter and all these things about him. I'm not here to talk about him more than I need to. But there's people calling the office saying, yeah, they were being pressured to say stuff, to say that they were with Mr. Combs. These are affidavits. They're filed in court. This is what you're dealing with here. Next slide. And so this is who took advantage of the woman in the shadowy video. He gives a press conference, 1-800 number, and he claims 2 days after posting that press conference, 2 days, that he has 120 fully vetted plaintiffs, 120. Anybody that does this for real, anyone that knows what they're doing, knows to corroborate, to interrogate, and to be sure about even one person takes weeks. One person. You've got to find out if their story makes sense. Did they really get dropped off? Does any of it check out? Is there corroboration? Are there any witnesses? It takes weeks for one. He had 120 in 2 days. When he files these cases, he doesn't even enter his notice of appearance. He just has some other lawyer file them. He holds these press conferences. He says, listen, anybody out there, just call the 1-800 number. If you can put yourself anywhere near a Sean Combs party at any point, we can go after the other celebrities there. We can make money together. Just call the 1-800 number. That's all you need to do. And then we'll send a letter to the celebrity. They're not going to want to have this in the public light. And they're going to be shaken down and they'll send us money. So he just call the number. And Mr. Carter said no. He said, that's not going to happen anymore. I'm going to put my foot down. And that's what he did. And I would urge any other celebrity that's being shaken down right now to do the same thing and to stand with truth. None of this ever happened. And what this 1-800 lawyer is doing, he's taking the justice away from this. He's destroying this opportunity and the voices of real victims. And it's got to end. So, are there any questions? Yes.
One question.
Sure.
So for the people that are calling your office, I'm assuming if it's not dismissed, like worst case scenario, and you guys move forward to try and show that everything you just told us, what evidence are you guys submitting other than the accounts that people over the phone? Like, do any of those people calling you have like emails between them and Buzbee or text conversations where they're encouraging this stuff?
Yeah, so let me divide that question into two if I can. We expect the case to be dismissed. If it's not, eventually this will all crumble because it can't possibly have happened mathematically. You don't even need witnesses. They don't have any witnesses because this never happened, and you don't need witnesses because the time doesn't work. There's literally photographic evidence that proves that this could not have happened. In terms of what's going to happen to Mr. Buzbee for this racket and everything else going on, time will tell. But this is how things unravel.
Not much is going to happen. Maybe he might be a little embarrassed or something. People are saying that they want him to be disbarred. They're going to do him a professional courtesy. They're not going to get this man disbarred over this, so I don't think.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Who is Lex Intelligence, and has your firm ever hired them in connection with Tony Buzbee to investigate Tony Buzbee as he's alleged?
I don't know that firm, don't know those people, and the answer is no.
So this might just be an extension of the first question, but you said that there were people calling saying they were being pressured to say that they were with Mr. Combs. Can you elaborate on that, please? Are they calling you to say that they're being pressured?
Yeah, there was a witness that came forward that contacted my office and submitted an affidavit in court regarding this that accounted for what occurred on that day, which was they called the Buzbee firm. They said they had an inquiry. The inquiry had nothing to do with Mr. Combs, Mr. Carter, or any of this. And the people at the Buzbee firm said, well, why don't we try to push this in the direction of the Combs case? That's a better decision in sum and substance. That's a better way to go here. This individual refused to do that, contacted my office and signed them, and then an affidavit was submitted to court. Yes?
You mentioned the letters that Buzbee's been sending out to unnamed celebrities in relation to these Combs lawsuits. What were your interactions on behalf of Mr. Carter before he was renamed in the amended complaint?
Well, after the letter was received, we obviously knew this was completely false and we weren't going to be shaken down. So the efforts were nothing because there was nothing to discuss in any meaningful way.
Do you know who the Jane Doe is, like her actual identity? Has there been research into that on your end?
Yeah, it's a fair question. Because she's been blacked out in the video and because a court has not unmasked her in court, I'm not going to get into her identity. You will notice that I did not get into some of her issues. I don't want to. It's really sad in many respects, and I don't want to get into that. So I'm not going to unmask her here today.
Has the accuser tried to reach out to Mr. Carter before, or any of his camp or anyone?
Not to my knowledge. Yes.
Buzbee indicated that there was a second alleged victim. Has he given any notice that he's pursuing that case law?
No, and I would hope not after what's going on here. Yes.
You mentioned in your recent filing on this docket that you were intending to file a motion to dismiss. What's the timeline on that? Are you working on it?
Yeah, so we did file a motion to dismiss the day after this was filed.
Right.
The Rule 11 letter, which basically says that a lawyer is not allowed to do this. You're not allowed to not vet a claim and file a false claim in court, or it needs to come down. The way that that works, and it's a little technical, is that the court has to allow you to file faster than you should otherwise be allowed to file. So we are hopeful that the court will respond today and we will file that. If not, there are other things that we're going to do to bring the truth to light. Are there any other questions? Yes.
Are there any witnesses who will be corroborating Mr. Carter's testimony that he was not there that night? Or is that sort of what you're hinting at, that if necessary, you will provide those people?
Yeah, I mean, it's like asking to corroborate something that never happened. I mean, there are dozens and dozens of people that are going to say there was no party at the White House, that put all of these celebrities where they're already put in photographs in different places, not at a White House. Remember, according to her, all three of these people, I mean, you all have seen the photographs, I mean, on the internet, and I just showed you some. All three of these people would have had to have been at this White House together, alone in a room. Just think about that. Alone in a room with this 13-year-old girl at exactly the time that they're at commercial establishments. So I mean, there's no proof better than time. But of course, there are going to be people that are going to say that they were all out that night and nowhere near a White House, and they went to an after party at a commercial establishment. And this is all fantasy.
If this case is dismissed after that, or you guys decided definitely to file anything in addition to defamation lawsuit?
This issue with a lawyer taking advantage of the situation is going to be dealt with. I can assure you. And I think sort of stay tuned. I think the first thing today was to make sure that everybody understands this is not an account of inconsistencies. I wanted everybody to understand that this never happened. This is completely false.
The bad part about it, even if they get a dismissal, is it has already, well, I mean, it is defamation. You know, even if it's dismissed, the defamation has already occurred if it's not true. And it looks like there's already been an impact to Jay-Z and Beyonce in terms of a financial impact in companies that are disassociating themselves with them. I've seen about 6 or 7 companies that are saying, you know, that they want to sever ties. They're not going to have them represent their brands any longer. Some, you know, just some of their affiliations. So unfortunately, just this Jay-Z being sued, especially if it's just these are all false allegations, it has had an impact on him. The old rumors of his relationship with Foxy have resurfaced. And just as, let's see, I'm sorry, let me go back here. As Priya, I'm going to say Priya, just like Priya said, the allegations about his son, Rymir, all of those things are resurfacing. So this has been all bad. Even if they get a dismissal, it's going to be other things that they're going to be dealing with as a result of this.
And then we'll move forward from there. Yes.
What is Mr. Carter's account of that night? Does he say he was at multiple locations, just that nightclub, Lotus nightclub that he was photographed at?
Yeah, so I'm not going to get into sort of privileged communications and talk too much about that, but I will say that he was not at any house or any location. They were in New York City. They were at commercial establishments with lots of people around. This is obviously completely false.
How's Mr. Carter feeling?
He's upset. He's upset that somebody would be allowed to do this. They would make a mockery of the system like this. He's upset that this distracts and dissuades real victims from coming forward. He's upset that his kids and his family have to deal with this. He's upset. They should be upset.
Is your firm investigating Buzbee, talking to people around him as he's alleged in some of his legal suit, in his suit against Tony Manuel?
Yeah, that suit went nowhere, as you saw. And what happens when people bring frivolous cases and run rackets like this is, of course, we're asking questions. I've got people contacting my office telling me chapter and verse about him. So we don't shut off the phone lines. I'm listening because I'm trying to figure out how this is allowed to proceed like this. Yes.
He posted a photo on his Instagram of 3 men at a door of his client, suggesting that investigators came and said that they would pay $1,000 for plaintiffs to file a suit against him. I mean, do Do you have any connection to those men that he photographed? Do those men have any connection to Quinn Emanuel?
Zero. Okay, I don't know whether it's completely false or not, but zero connection to those people. Have no idea what that is. Don't know whether he made it up out of whole cloth. Don't know if he's trying to distract from what he's under now. But no, there's no truth to that. Anything else?
Right. Will Mr. Carter say anything more specifically about Mr. Combs? He didn't really address him in his statement, but anything since outlets and internet speculation have tried to affiliate the two of them, like he didn't really in his statement specifically say anything about any of the allegations.
I mean, Mr. Carter has nothing to do with Mr. Combs' case or Mr. Combs. They knew each other professionally for a number of years, just like in all professions. People know each other. At the music awards, they support each other. If you go to the NBA All-Star game, they support each other. That's just how professions work. There is no closer association between any of them. That's also a matter of fiction. That's all that there is. He doesn't know anything about the charges or allegations against him. He has nothing to do with that case. And there's nothing more to say. Yes.
And there was no filing before it was amended, and even after there was a second, the woman celebrity that even chose in the room. That woman celebrity, whoever it is, has there been any other people that may have been with Mr. Carter or even Puff that night? But I reached out to you guys, just wanted to know what is happening, just so that they can prepare for kind of even a fight back like Jay-Z is right now.
Well, we know other celebrities have received letters, and we've spoken to other celebrities that were there that night that say this is what they know about this. This makes no sense, couldn't have happened because they were all at a commercial establishment. So I hope that answers your question. Yes.
Was there a specific amount of money or something specific that was demanded of Mr. Carter in this demand letter that was sent to you before the complaint was filed?
There isn't a specific number that has been demanded.
But did they specifically ask for money?
In the demand letter, what did?
Yeah. So I've been asked this question before. People like this, they don't send demand letters out to not get money. That's all they want. Okay. This is not for truth and justice. This is for money. So the request was to sit down and talk about a way to resolve this matter. And we all know what that means. Yes.
Do you have any plans to release the demand letter?
Not as I stand here today. I'm more concerned with making sure that everybody knows this didn't happen. I know there's a lot of questions about this lawyer and who's after him and how much wrong has he done and these questions, and I totally understand that and respect those questions, but we'll turn to that later. Anything else? Okay. Thank you all very much for your time.
Okay, so let me go to the chat and see what you guys are saying. Hey, Marie, welcome to the chat tonight, girl. So for those of you that are new to the channel, please go check out Universal Tea with Marie. She has a channel. Go follow her. So you said you just saw another investment that was pending to go kaput. Yeah, so I know they had an affiliation with Tiffany and Company. Some of the liquor companies that they represented, even like Beyonce's new liquor brand and stuff, they're saying, yeah, we want to sever ties and everything like that. They're also talking about her tour, her Carter tour that's coming up in 2025. The NFL has come out in support of Jay-Z, but still advertisers are still a little bit shaky because if you guys think about it, for years historically, hip hop, Black people, rap and stuff was not aligned or affiliated with some of those brands, right? Those higher upper echelon brands. And now for them to have this kind of a scandal, even if it's not true, it's still a scandal. So advertisers are just kind of leery about that. And, they have a morality clause, and a lot of corporations and companies, when you get hired, there's a morality clause. Like if you bring if there's any kind of thing that your name is involved with, then we can terminate you. So I think it's kind of the same theory here. Marie says, do you think he should have done a press conference? If you're talking about Buzbee, so I feel like Buzbee, if you're talking about the Jane Doe, clearly she shouldn't have done a press conference, but it was probably going to be the same result. It just, now that it's public, there are just more eyes on it. People can see that, and it's kind of good because now we're able to look at the case and say it's totally fallen apart. I know one of the other creators was saying if you change the year to 2003, some of what she says makes sense, but that's just not how that's not how lawsuits work. You can't change the facts, the facts that you presented, shift things around so that it matches what you say. No, it's either fact-based or it's not. So it's kind of falling apart. And in terms of Alex Spiro, I mean, I do think it's good because it's sort of like a PR for Jay-Z for a lot of people, because people will just condemn you based on information that's in the media, whether it's true or not. So I think this is kind of like good PR for him. It's good press for his attorney to come, forward and say, these are the inconsistencies, because now more people are starting to say, this case is looking flimsy. There's still people who think that Jay-Z did something. I don't think Jay-Z's hands are totally clean. I think that he's done some other things, but in this particular instance, I'm not seeing it, and we don't see all the facts of the case either, but it just doesn't look like it's a rock solid case against Jay-Z, this case. Maybe it hurt more than it helped. Yeah, the Jane Doe coming forward, like I stated before. Hold on, you guys. Based on what we saw in that interview, that was an investigative journalist, not interrogating her, but if she didn't even do good in that off-camera interview, you can imagine what it would be like if she has to go to a law firm and be deposed and have people going over her every comment and response. Like, they would just tear her to shreds, I think. Priya, I know that son looks. Yes, that's another thing. So with all of the things that are going on now, and with Jay-Z being called out, and I mean, to be honest, the whole thing with Diddy started with the lawsuit with Cassie. I don't think anybody expected that it was going to escalate into an indictment. Everybody thought it was terrible. Oh, he beat her up, all of these allegations. But the fact that the feds jumped in on it, that's one thing. Now, in this case may be dismissed. However, there are other things that are being brought to the forefront, and it may get the feds to kind of take a second look at Jay-Z. That's something that I'm sure he would not want. I've stated previously before, we already know the feds keep a file on celebrities anyway, but given these new allegations, even though they, it may be a dismissal, that doesn't mean that something else is not going to crop up and cause some issues for Jay-Z. Did he really upped up by not settling, or when Cassie was coming or trying to negotiate with him months before this went public, hit the media? Diddy has screwed a lot of people. It's just people's names are being added, celebrities, this list and stuff. This was a bad move. I know they want to whoop his ass. Priya is saying, yes, he does. He does. And that's the other thing. I was saying previously that since Jay-Z does not want to take the DNA test, that it's possible that Rymir can sue on behalf of his mother, that maybe she was violated or had a relationship with Jay-Z when she was underage. So that's another avenue he can take, file a lawsuit on behalf of his deceased mother, and not necessarily try to press the DNA test, but some legal people say they don't think that that's the best route to take. That's just a legal theory I have. Maria saying, hey, Queen. Hey, everyone. Hey, and Priya. Hey, thank you guys for joining tonight. Yep, I always say what happens in the dark comes to light. Something went wrong back in the heyday. Karma, exactly. I mean, and Jay-Z's had these allegations following him for years, that he's messed with underage girls. Scandals can hit you bad. Yes, they can. I mean, and it's how you treat people too. I think it's how you treat people. If you make enemies over time, hell, when something happens, nobody's coming to save you. People are turning their back on you. And I thought that was crazy. Did you guys notice how the attorney tried to distance Jay-Z from Diddy saying, oh, they only had a professional relationship. I don't believe that. Now, that's a damn lie. We've seen them together for years, professionally, of course, but all of those like Rock Nation brunches and stuff, those were intimate settings. I mean, of course it's business, but it's like the pictures that they took together. It's like, that's my boy. These are my boys. And I believe it was Diddy that said there was only one person who could call him Sean, and not Diddy, and that was Jay-Z. They've talked about them being friends. If you go back to that whole scandal with Kathy White, when they were in Vegas, you know, the whole thing with Claudia Jordan, they was partying. They was sending bottles to the chicks. That's friendship. You in Vegas at a fight and all this stuff. To me, there are professional things that you do, like at your, you know, work and everything. But I mean, we've seen them on hundreds of occasions together. So I think it was more than just, you know, they were saying B lost subscribers. Oh, okay. I thought she lost subscribers. I had heard that she lost subscribers about 2 months ago, but I didn't know that. And I want to go check that out. I'm going to see, because I know one thing. I did a video saying that people were also saying that she's doing a soft name change, that she's trying to be like subliminal with it. Not necessarily subliminal, but just easy, because she was listed in Forbes as one of the 2024 most influential women of the year. And on her profile, it says Beyonce Knowles. And people were noticing that it didn't say Carter. But for her tour, she has, you know, promoted her tour, and it says Carter. It has the Knowles Carter. So I don't know, but some people were thinking that, you know, she's slowly trying to unwind herself from Jay-Z. I mean, they got so much together. They are a unified brand. It is what it is. It's kind of hard. And we also know that there have been rumors of divorce. Maybe they'll get a legal separation. I don't know. But I mean, this is all bad. And, you know, it's bad for Beyonce. She is one of the women, one of the artists, that has had an impeccable brand. She likes to be known as Miss Perfect, you know. She rarely even speaks. She doesn't come to the media because she doesn't want anything to tarnish her brand. So being affiliated with him, I mean, this is just all bad for her. It just is. Yeah, perception is heck for real. Yeah, the public perception of his past, these allegations, it's not going away no time soon. It's not going away anytime soon. Now they're denying being Diddy's friends. They said they were never really close. Exactly. Now we know I don't know what people consider close, but hell, y'all, we got pictures. I don't know if you guys have seen the pictures where it's Diddy, Jay-Z, and I forget the other guy, and there's J-Lo, and it's like she's topless. And actually Beyonce, I believe, was in the photo as well, but some people reposted it, but you didn't see Beyonce. And so it's like the girls were like, what? I mean, that to me, that's friends. If you up there doing a freak off, I'm not saying that Jay-Z and Beyonce participated, but if even the photos that we see with them have, you know, the women are topless and stuff, and you there with your girl, he with his girl, that sounds like some swinging that buddies do to me. That's a friend, and that's beyond just professional. I don't know. Priya says, wow. Marie says, now I know Jay has ran over several folks to get on top, even close friends as well. Yeah, so he's made a lot of enemies, and you know they're coming. People are, I mean, like Choke No Joke talks about it. If you guys go check out his channel, it's so many people that says Jay-Z has done them wrong. He owes them money. Dame Dash has been very vocal, and he has not come out and defended Jay-Z because, you know, he was pissed with Jay-Z for being friends with R. Kelly and doing business with R. Kelly because of the Aaliyah situation. So yeah, Diddy is a demon for real. I know. I think Jay-Z has done some stuff too. It's just that this case, in this particular instance, it doesn't look like it's going to be proven. He needs to take it. If B was a real one, she would have made him. Yeah, I think he should have taken the DNA test. At this point, if you're not the guy's dad, then just take it and be done with it. And to be honest, he probably would have done better taking it years ago, because now with all this scandal, that might be the one piece of evidence that can, cause him some issues. If he is forced to take it now publicly, and it comes out that he's his father, they're saying that Ramirez's mother was underage. So he should have just gotten it done with a long time ago. Priya says facts. They said she was 50, exactly right, the same age that allegedly he messed around with Foxy, right? That he liked young girls. Hey, there's my buddy Michael Brown. Hey, Michael, thank you for joining me tonight. I told you that it's all business with Jay and Diddy. No, that's just what come on now. Me and Michael be having a banter back and forth. That's what his attorney is paid to say. We can clearly see that they've had a relationship for 2 decades now, beyond just friendship. And Michael, you're a man, and I'm sure if you have a woman, or if hey, everybody's fluid these days, but are you telling me you're gonna be someplace with your girl, your woman, your boy, and his chick, and they topless, and that's just a business relationship? Come on. As they say, where they do that at, right? Okay, like Michael says, you've only seen them together at Rock Nation brunch. No, you forgot that video, that picture, that whole thing with Kathy White, the woman that they said that that was in Vegas years ago at I think it was a Mike Tyson fight. Nah, so that wasn't a Rock Nation brunch. That was out partying on the town. Yeah. Dame is goofy. Look at Dame now. I know the whole teeth situation. I don't know what happened to his money. After that DNA test, he'll never have to take that. You don't think so? Okay, we'll see. I mean, maybe he won't, but I think he's going to be forced to. It's going to come up. And Buzbee to save face, because at this point, Buzbee is looking kind of janky. And I feel like Buzbee to save face, he's going to do whatever he can to force Jay-Z's hand to find him on something. He gonna work day and night, like Michael Jackson, working day and night. He gonna try to get him to take that test. Something. I'm telling you, Elliot Wilson was just talking about the relationship. Okay, I don't know Elliot Wilson. Can you tell me where I could go look it up or find it? It's interesting though, because I mean, Steven Smith was like, he's been friends with Jay-Z for 25 years and we ain't never seen them together. So the fact that we see him and Diddy together all the time, to me, is more than just a professional friendship. I mean, business partnership. But, actually, you're right at Michael Brown. But my question is, why did P. Diddy ask where he was, as if he was expecting him to ride with him? Oh, you're talking about... Are you talking about Marie? Are you talking about that tape that allegedly when he was talking to his son, from Diddy was talking to his son and he was asking about Jay? Really, at Michael Brown, even if subpoenaed? Yeah. Well, so it wouldn't be the subpoena; it would be an order. The subpoena would be if the document was already filed or processed, but it would be a court order. In reference to the DNA test. Michael, she asking you questions. You're not answering us quick enough. Oh, let's see. Michael says, subpoena for what though? No, right. No, it wouldn't be a subpoena. It would be a court order. If, first of all, Ramirez going up to another a higher court, asking them to force him to take it. So it would be an order. That's what she's asking. That's what she means. P. Diddy asked where was Jay while in jail, and he told him he don't know, that he's ghosting them. Yeah. So now that jail house call, a lot of people are saying that it was AI. I don't know. And then some people are also saying that he was asking about Stevie J and not Jay-Z. So I don't know. But now that all this is coming out, yeah, Jay-Z was ghosting his ass. It's like, I don't want to get caught up in that issue you caught up in. And did you guys see Will Smith just came out and said, I don't have shit to do with Diddy. All that stuff Diddy is involved with. Nobody wants to get drugged into these scandals. Oh, Michael, his mom. Come on now. I can't say that his mama's unalive. Yeah, but they can do a DNA test. And I like I said before, I think that because you can file a lawsuit on behalf of a decedent, right? So if Jay-Z is refusing to take the paternity test, I think that Buzbee will file a lawsuit on behalf of Ramir's mother, saying that Jay-Z had a relationship with her when she was underage, and it would be for Ramir on behalf of his mother's estate, something like that. Yeah, no, girl, no worries. I know what you meant. Oh, he could have been asking about Steve. Yeah, they said it's Stevie J, because now they're also saying that Stevie J was an informant and he was actually working for, the feds and stuff. So I don't know, but I think everybody is kind of ghosting him at this point. Nobody wants to get caught up in that. Look at how it's impacting Jay-Z, guilty or not. This is messing up his brand. And now it's spilling over to Beyonce. There are reports now that Beyonce's camp, the execs that handle her, because even though they're a united brand, they still have their own set of things that they're saying that she needs to divorce him, Why would Jay come anywhere near Diddy? Jay moves like his shoes too tight, and Diddy moves sloppily. Okay, why would? Well, yeah, now he wouldn't, but in the past they have been closely aligned. Isn't that Rock Nation something that they do together? They've made music together. This whole liquor brand stuff, all of these deals, they helped each other secure some of that stuff allegedly. So, oh, thank you, Marie. Please hit that thumbs up button and tell everyone to show support. I appreciate it. Thank you. Let's get this video into the algorithm. You know what, girl? I'm just trying to train myself to be comfortable. I see you be doing your thing. For those of you who don't know, Marie has a channel. Go check her out. You be up there comfortable. I'm still not comfortable yet, but I'm trying. You be a damn fool to defend anything, Diddy. Yeah, you're right. Let's see. Has anybody come? Well, there have been, I can't even think of their names. There have been some people to come out and say, oh, it's been some rappers to come out and say stuff like, oh, this is false. It's not real. It's a money grab. And to some degree, I do think it's a money grab for some people. Marisa, at Michael Brown. Thank you. Michael says, Rock Nation is supposed to be some Black excellence type thing. That's business. Well, it's not looking like Black excellence now, because two of the people that are the face of Rock Nation have been pulled into this scandal. And here's the thing about it, and I hear what you're saying, but it's just that there's been a history of this. Even if it's not true with Jay-Z, he has had a history. Like that young lady, Corinne Steffens, has come out and said some things about him lately. Carmen, that one girl, I read her book years ago. I think she used to mess with Nas or something. These women are coming out saying Jay-Z ain't the dude that he may be a bit of a monster that they're portraying him to be. Maybe not that he's done something to a 13-year-old, but that he ain't so squeaky clean. So he has a image problem anyway. Maria said, oh my God, you do look beautiful. Oh, thank you. Don't make me blush, girl. Thank you. I appreciate that. Thank you. Stevie J came out, but then he saw that video. Okay, Michael, let me say this. Let me just say this, and I could be wrong. People are going to say, these people don't give a damn about Diddy knocking the ish up out of Cassie. Let's just be real. I've seen worse. Where I'm from, they got girls on the strip, right? In the Bay Area, they be on we call it the old stroll. They get slapped up all the time, right? So people coming out like it was so horrific. It was sad. Nobody wants to see a woman get beat up like that. It was horrible. But I really don't think that people care that much, because there's been so much violence against women in the past. I mean, You know what I'm saying? It's like, oh, now that Diddy is under fire, oh, that was terrible. Listen, if what he's being accused of, the allegations against him are more severe than beating up on a woman. That is just a video to make us think that he's a bad guy, he's violent. Okay, and true. But I really don't think that everybody is so taken aback to see a woman. We see it in movies all the time. It's not that far-fetched. Women get unalived all the time. So I think it's the allegations of trafficking, throwing in the stuff about the minor, things like that, witness tampering. But do you really think they cared that much about Diddy slapping up on Cassie? They've been seeing him do that to her apparently for years. And I have a question as well. Cassie, she did get her money, but if Diddy was messing with 13-year-olds in freak offs, and you were arranging these parties, what were you doing? I'm sorry. Just like that, because what's her name? Giselle, the Epstein's girl, Giselaine. If she is behind bars from her participation, why isn't Cassie being held accountable if she did some things with underage people? Just a question. Y'all don't have to agree, but there should be some accountability there as well. I'm just saying. I'm just talking about the brunch. Okay, I got you. Jaguar Wright is in it. I know Jaguar too. She's been like, I was doing stuff on Jaguar back in the 2020 after she first came out with Storm Monroe. And a lot of the stuff that she is saying is not like she had firsthand knowledge. She was repeating things that she had read, stuff that Whitney Williams had said, stuff on Lipstick Alley. So of course it's information that has been around for years. But because she had been in a video with Jay-Z, and she had been in the industry, people started giving her a pass and believing everything she said was true. A lot of what she says is true, but not necessarily because she's been a part of it. She's repeating things that she's heard and read, just like us. But now she has actually come out and lied on this man. That, again, also is going to make it bad for the real victims. The jurors are going to have a hard time knowing who to believe and what to believe. These people are twisting up this shit and making it hard for everybody. I mean, she really should be ashamed of herself. And now she backpedaling. I didn't say this. Girl, please. You have said so much, and AI did it. It's sad. It's really sad. I mean, they need to shut her down for real, because this is bad. Who hasn't Corinne Steffens talked about? I mean, yeah, I get what you're saying, but I mean, it's, y'all know Corinne Steffens is super HEAD, you know, the whole, you know, for hours. I read her book. Now that was crazy. She said she was bobbing, you know, I'm old school reason, you know. She said she was doing 5 hours and until she got a nosebleed. Like, girl, listen, 5 hours. I'm sorry. I'm not doing that much of nothing for no damn 5 hours except sleep. I mean, I know she was young at the time. 5 hours till you get a nosebleed? Universal Marie says, no, Michael Brown, please. Please continue. Michael says, Carmen is okay. Nas, baby mom. That's what I thought. I just, you know, I be having so many details, but I don't. Yeah, I remember reading the book and I thought it was Nas and Mama that Jay and Iverson was sleeping with. So Iverson. I think you guys heard me talk about Malika, who was with Making the Band. She used to mess with Iverson too. I was asking her if she would come and tell some stories about some of the guys that she messed around with. It was another guy who used to play for the Oakland Raiders. Man, so many stories because I know some of these people, and it's just, yeah, it's crazy. But Allen Iverson, yeah, Malika used to mess with him. Right, that was nothing for real. Actually, no, Vlad too. Vlad's wife, Sandy, she's from Oakland. She is the person who got me into cybersecurity. And before I got into cybersecurity, Vlad, he's from the Bay Area. He's from here too. They were married. He is the one. He used to have a company, Gigastaff, and Sandy and I were trying to get our careers together and everything, and so I talked to him. He was kind of giving me advice because Vlad used to have he went to UC Berkeley, and he used to have a technical staffing company, Gigastaff, and so I had just gotten into IT and everything, and he was getting out of the staffing. He had his business, and he was moving from that into hip hop. And now, as we see it, it was a great move for him. So you're saying, right, that was nothing for real. And I know, and you're saying not condoning. That's what I'm saying. It's not that we're condoning it, but they're not going to put that man away for 20 years for some DV. It's not. They're getting him on some real ish, right? Like, no, because you could smack somebody upside their head, knock them down. It happens all the time. You'll get a slap on the wrist. You'll have to take some classes on, you were abusive. I'm learning how to deal with my anger. You're not facing prison time for 2 decades behind whooping up on Cassie. No, because they don't care that much anyway. Walking Dead Barbie. Hey Storm Chasers. Hey, I don't see Storm here, but hey, how you doing? Welcome to the chat. That was G-Rap. She got those nosebleed with. Oh, all of it, huh? Yeah, I don't remember who she was with, but that's a lot of work, y'all. So for you guys that don't know, Corinne Steffens, which is Super HEAD, she talks about in her book that she wrote maybe 10 years ago, maybe longer, that she was doing some, bobbing for, I think, 5 or 6 hours, so long that she got a nosebleed. Like, don't you get lockjaw? I mean, damn, she was on it. And I guess that's how she got her name, but that was crazy. Hello, everyone coming in and in the clouds. Please tap the like and thank you hearts. Thank you, Marie. Again, for people that are just joining Universal with Marie, go check her channel out. Marie, why don't you put it in the chat? I don't think they can click it, and I don't know how to do the mod thing yet, but just put it in the chat so they can know where to find you. You guys go check her out. She does a lot of she does all topics, but she also covers Krishan and Blueface too. I don't even know how to say that. The lounge. I'm really grateful for this press conference because it's some direct, organized presentation of the facts and detailed statement from those involved. Yeah, I thought the presentation was really great. Tisa Tales, she did a really great presentation in support of the accuser. However, I didn't agree with, because she changed the timeline from 2000 to 2003, and she was finding reasons as to why the young lady's statements didn't add up. And I just feel like you can't, like, it has to be more fact-based. It's okay that she has some issues remembering timelines, but you can't say, she thought the house was white because there were lights on. Like, you don't, how is that factual? How do you even know that? How do you prove that? Like, but she did a great presentation as well. And she was citing case law too. He was trafficking chicks. Who are you talking about, Diddy? Just lick my swipe for a couple minutes and let's get to business. I don't need okay. Yeah, that's crazy. 5 hours? Damn. I mean, shit, you might catch gingivitis or something. Okay, but I don't think they can click the link as I'm not a moderator. Yeah, well, just put in there, put your channel name and everything in there. And they can find you that way. And thank you. Okay, you guys, so I've been up here for an hour. I appreciate everybody coming over and supporting me. I hope I see y'all again tomorrow, because it's going to be some new stuff. You guys, go check out Marie's channel. Check out my videos I did about can you kind folks see the channel link. If not, the channel is the same as her name. Yes, Universal Tea with Marie. Go check out Jaguar Wright. She lying, backpedaling. Tony Buzbee came out today and said, yeah, I don't F with you. And so now she's pissed about that. Yeah, let's see. Yes, please share, everyone. Yes, thank you. Please hit the like, please share, please, yeah, all of that good stuff. So y'all have a good evening, and I will see you tomorrow. All right, bye. Bye, Michael.